So, a volcano erupts in Ethiopia, and the result, the impact of that volcano, is seen in multiple nations around the world, including in India. You would have all read in the newspapers and seen on the news channels that the volcanic eruption in Ethiopia has led to severe flight disruptions in India. It happened all through late Monday and in the first half of Tuesday as well. Now it is expected that this will now carry on and enter into China. This is an important news story for us. In this video, we'll be discussing about what exactly happened in Ethiopia. How is it possible that a volcano that has erupted so far away from us has impacted us? And interestingly, not really impacted our day-to-day life, but has actually impacted the civil aviation sector. So what is the connection between the two? Let's dive deep into it right away. But before that, if you're new here, do hit the like and the subscribe button. I would highly appreciate that. So if you have still not read the news, which I'm sure is highly unlikely, there has been a volcanic eruption in Ethiopia. The name of the volcano where it has occurred is Hayli Gubbi. Do remember this part. Because of this volcanic eruption, there was a huge cloud of ash. Now, when a volcano erupts, what usually happens? Either there is outflow of the lava. In this case, there was no lava outflow, but volcanic ash did erupt. Because this ash is extremely light and the temperature increases, so that means the warm wind obviously makes it go even higher, the altitude increases, and these ashes and ash particles actually go higher up into the atmosphere. This high altitude plume, so this is called a plume, they have entered into different countries' airspaces. So it started with entering airspace of their neighboring countries, Yemen, Oman, and then it entered India, Pakistan, and now it is supposed to enter into China. This is why it is extremely important. Now, because we already knew about this, the meteorological department expected something like this would happen. An advisory in advance was issued to the civil aviation companies, the airlines, which is why a lot of flights were either disrupted or cancelled in India on Monday. Now, why is it a big challenge for the airlines? First, it can severely reduce the visibility for the pilots. Now, this is an interesting idea here because most of the flights today run on autopilot. However, even then, the pilots have to ensure that they have good enough visibility in case they have to take charge of the flight. So it is an extremely important point. Secondly, because the volcanic ash went to the same altitude which is used by commercial flights, it became even more important to look into it. So the altitude, the expected altitude of this volcanic ash was about 10 to 14 kilometers from the Earth's surface. This is exactly the range used by commercial flights around the world. It also led to a lot of toxic gases coming into the atmosphere, sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide. So there was a lot of danger of this inhalation. And if in the worst case scenario could also have been engine malfunction because of a lot of particles colliding with the engine. Because of this, the safer option was always to cancel the flights or to divert or take another route. This is what has happened in India as well. And this is why it has made so much news. It also tells us how a lot of factors which are not even in our hands can actually have an impact on our plans, can actually have an impact which cannot be taken out of context. Now, this is the understanding part of it for the examination point of view. The volcano that erupted is not an active volcano, mind you. It is a volcano that last erupted around 12,000 years ago. So it's a very uh, unique way to actually be in the news. It's a very unique volcano. It is not something that is in the list of the active volcanoes. It's a unique occurrence. Also, there was no lava outflow, as I told you. It was mainly the gases and the plume that consisted of small little particles, volcanic ash that came out in large numbers. The debris that was heavy, that was heavier in size, heavier in structure, fell down in the surroundings. It is only the lighter material, the volcanic ash, that could flow in the air. That is the one that led to it covering a long distance. So, along with the volcanic ash, we also saw sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, these kind of gases also coming up into the atmosphere. This has been able to travel long distances. Why? Because of the strong air currents. The strong air currents were necessary to make sure that this travels a long distance, and that is how it has entered multiple countries, including India in our case. Now, the source, as I said, is Ethiopia. You have to remember the name of this particular volcano and also the location. So it is near the Red Sea coastline. The location itself is extremely important. A lot of air traffic, a lot of commercial air traffic goes through it because it is on the way between Asia and Europe, Asia and America. A lot of flights take these routes. That is why the volcanic plume has led to a lot of disruption in commercial flights around the entire world. It is, as I said, it is very proximate to major air traffic corridors. Where is it in Ethiopia? In Ethiopia, it is in the northeastern part of Ethiopia near the Red Sea coastline, somewhere here. And this is why it is extremely important. The Red Sea is close to Yemen as well. So Yemen, Oman, all these countries also saw a lot of disruptions going ahead. Now, it traveled towards western side, so it had an eastward travel. The plume entered India through states such as Gujarat, Rajasthan. In Delhi also, the newspapers reported that the national capital, that is Delhi, that is already facing from huge pollution, is already facing from extremely high AQI, may suffer even more for a couple of days because of this bloom. From India, it will exit. In fact, it would have exited by now because it was expected that by evening, late evening, Tuesday, it will enter towards China. So it's not a very big disruption. It's a disruption that was seen for only one single day, and we don't expect this to now go on. Now, this is not the first time that something like this has happened in our aviation. There have been many such instances that the aviation companies, the civil aviation, they try as a safety measure that whenever something like this occurs, they try to divert the route, they try to cancel their flights. And this doesn't have a long-term impact. In the short term, yes, the flights may cost more because they have to take some diversion, but in the long run, does not have a lot of impact. It could also result in engine damage if the flights are flown in this, and that is why the airline companies decided to go ahead and have circumvent it. When will this end? It won't take a long time. In fact, by the time that you will be watching the video, most probably it would have already made an exit from India. More importantly, it was important to keep human beings away from it because it had a lot of sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide. Although these gases do remain in the atmosphere by themselves, but these are extremely harmful, dangerous, especially if you are surrounded by them in large quantity. When will they disperse? They will disperse automatically as the air flows down, as the airflow comes down, as they travel long distances, they will lose the momentum, they lose energy, and they will get dispersed automatically. This is when you will see full flight traffic coming back to normal. So most probably by tomorrow, flight traffic will be back to normal in India. This is it for this news channel. This is an important video, an important news story that you must remember from the examination point of view. If you're new here, do hit the like and the subscribe button. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Jai Hind.